guys, Chain Gear here, bringing another video, and today we are back with GearCast episode 8. Episode 8, welcome everybody.
Episode 8, like the Hateful Eight, now coming out in theaters
that
alongside that other big movie that's coming out. Oh, by the way, hi.
Star Wars?
Oh yeah, I don't know, something like that. Starfire.
For those that have been here before on Chain Gear Gaming and here to watch our awesome podcast, GearCast, you know that we start off usually with apologies. Last week
batch of apologies.
Last week we did not have an apology, and that's because we were trying to get this video done, and now we have a little bit more time to apologize. Obviously, someone's missing from the screen. You're seeing some gameplay, you're seeing my beautiful face, and you're not seeing my co-host, Vampire Peaches.
Hello, no. But so here's the reveal. I'm not actually a real person. I'm a hologram. I'm an AI, like something from like a Terminator movie or Portal. I am an ethereal AI. You can't be ethereal and be an artificial intelligence, can you?
His camera's not working.
Okay.
His camera's not working. So now you get to hear his voice, you get to watch my face and hear my voice, of course, and you get to watch some awesome gameplay by yours truly. So
what's gonna be playing in the background this week?
Who knows? I hope you guys are enjoying this awesome gameplay of who knows? I'm currently playing
Farming Simulator 16.
Every time. No, it couldn't be that, but maybe some Call of Duty, maybe some Blacklight. You guys know what I'm playing right now: Blacklight Retribution, Call of Duty, MGS 5, Metal Gear Solid 5.
That's mainly back into that.
The Order 1886.
All right.
Which we can talk about another time. But it's a pretty good game.
Eventually, you and I are gonna have to talk about the Phantom Pain now that you finished the first chapter and I got back into it and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. So, for those that have not been here, welcome to Chain Gear Gaming. It's a channel all about basically whatever I'm playing. It's about video games. It started off being all about Blacklight Retribution, which is a free-to-play PlayStation 4 shooter. It was ported over from the PC, and it's a ton of fun. And if you guys are ever interested in shooters and you want to get started, then definitely Blacklight's a great way to go because it's free. You don't have to pay for anything, comparatively to paying anywhere between $30 to $60 or even more on any of the big shooters out right now, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, or Battlefront. So definitely a great game to play, but the channel has grown since then. We do content over a ton of games. Of course, we're trying to keep it with the audience, so we try and make videos about games like Warframe, another free-to-play third-person shooter on PlayStation. We did a couple of videos about PlanetSide 2. We did some videos stretching out a little bit more like Destiny, and Vampire Peaches did a video on The Binding of Isaac. Yes. So, and of course, I have some content up there about MGS 5, and I also have a new video all about. It's called The Hype Train, and it is all about games that I'm excited for coming out later. And it was The Hype Train was all about Overwatch, which is an awesome PC title that is now it was revealed a couple weeks ago, I guess, that it's going to come out for PS4 as well. So
I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm really pumped for that. So a lot of great content here on Chain Gear Gaming, but of course the crown jewel of Chain Gear Gaming is GearCast. GearCast is a podcast all about gaming, mostly about PlayStation, where myself and my co-host Vampire Peaches talks about different topics every single week. We try and put this up on Saturday every single week, so you guys can kind of enjoy it over the weekend or enjoy it the next week. Usually it's about an hour and a half, sometimes a little more, a little bit less, but it's different topics all the time. We've talked about virtual reality, we've talked about open world games, we talked about, last episode was all about PlayStation Experience, PSX, and Game of the Year, and so that was pretty fun for us. But there's a whole bunch of content here to come. This is episode 8, and we're really excited to get to that episode 10. Probably going to throw a huge party,
Actually, there's a lot of reason to be excited if you're a longtime listener of the GamesCast, and if you are, hi, thank you so much for listening to another episode. Me and Chain Gear will be in the same place. We're going to be home a little while for the holidays, so you get to see both of us in the same room playing some games. Oh, it's gonna be great. Maybe we'll do a couple of Let's Plays. Oh my god, it's gonna be great.
holiday. We're doing a holiday special. It was a Christmas special. It's a bit of a holiday special because it's in between Christmas and New Year's. So we're doing a holiday special where we're going to talk about all the games that we're excited about for next year. So kind of getting that hype train rolling, maybe a hype train episode where we talk about a whole bunch of that kind of stuff. We're really, really excited.
Holla at your holidays.
Yeah. That's what we're calling it. That's what it's going to be called. Holla at your holidays. That's it. That's it. And actually, let me put this out here that it's pretty important. The video actually hasn't dropped yet, but I finally hit 300 subscribers.
Oh my God, really?
I finally hit 300 subscribers, so that's fantastic. And thank you every single person out there that has been watching GearCast and Chain Gear Gaming and all of everything that comes with that. I really, really appreciate it. But this is not the video where I'll be thanking all of you. I have a update video, and with an update comes a giveaway, usually, as you guys know. And there will be 2 giveaways. There's a giveaway that happens on that actual video itself, where you can comment and make sure you're subscribed on that video, and you'll be in for a giveaway. This includes you as well. Vampire Peaches, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed and make sure you're ready to go. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below on that video. But we are doing a GearCast giveaway as well. Again, more information on that episode as well, or on that video, which will come up soon if it's not already up by the time this video is up. We'll be talking about some really exciting things about GearCast and just kind of going through a little bit of the history, some other stuff. But that giveaway will be on the 9th. Yeah, sorry, not the 9th, episode 9. Yes, the holiday giveaway. We will be talking about somewhere in the middle of the episode. We will be saying who gets the giveaway. So it is a GearCast giveaway where you're going to, of course, have to be subscribed, and you have to comment on either this episode 8, or episode 7, and talk to us. Give us some feedback, some communication on how you feel about GearCast and how you feel as though GearCast is going, and different content you want to see. If the episodes are too long, if they're too short, if you want to hear from us more, if you have we
prefer not to see Vampire Peaches.
Right, right. Do you want to see more people involved? Things like that. Let us know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Be subscribed, and you guys will be entered to win the GearCast giveaway. And it will only be a pool of GearCast listeners and watchers. So if you guys are GearCast fans, and there's only 5 of you, then only 5 of you are going to be put in this giveaway. So your chances are pretty high. So get ready for that. Don't want to talk too much about it. Just go ahead and check out the video if it's already out, and if it's not already out, then it will come up very, very soon. Otherwise, let's jump into the topic of this week's GearCast. And if you guys remember, last week we talked about PlayStation Experience, which is a conference all about PlayStation. Please go ahead and check out that episode if you're interested in more. But I felt like it made a lot of sense to continue talking about PlayStation. PlayStation is a company that myself and Vampire Peaches and Ballistic Phoenix, the Chain Gear Gaming family that we've been talking about and we've loved for a long time. And PlayStation 3 is actually my favorite console of all time, which is a big deal. I'll talk to you guys about that at another time.
And here's the thing, we do notice in the comments that there are people like, hey, when you talk about stuff, it easily helps me put things into context and understand what PlayStation is all about. So we figured, why not we get into the nitty and gritty and help you understand the real meat of PlayStation, the first-party studios that make the exclusive games that we love and that we want. So We're here to help. Well, it was never really our purpose to help educate, but anything we could do to help the community and strengthen it and stuff like that. So yeah,
I agree 100%. That's the idea. Is we're trying to get you guys to know the same stuff that we know, so we can kind of have a conversation about it. And one thing that myself and Vampire Peaches talk about all the time is Sony's first-party studios, PlayStation's first-party studios. And these are the games that are exclusives. That's the way you guys would know it. These are exclusives to the PlayStation. You're not going to see these games on any other console. They're not third-party studios like EA producers like EA or Ubisoft. That they're making games that are multi-platform, multi-console. You see them on PC, Xbox. Nintendo sometimes, never really. So these games are all about PlayStation, and so we wanted to talk about that. We wanted to talk about PlayStation titles, PlayStation games, PlayStation Studios. And when we talk about PlayStation Studios, you have to talk about SCE, which is Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios. That's what it is. So it's SCE Worldwide Studios, and that's kind of where all of those first-party companies or first-party studios are kept. That's where they all are. And we're going to go through all of them. There's only about 14, 15, 16 of them. And so it shouldn't take us too long. You guys know us. This goes about an hour and a half, just so we can kind of have a conversation. Go ahead and plug your earphones in and continue working, or go get a snack, or whatever you got to do.
Take advantage of those double XP weekends and stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever you need to do, you go ahead and play some games and just kind of listen along. And if you're interested, something piques your fancy, go ahead and listen up a little more. And maybe, of course, always leave us a like if you like this video. Dislike it if you don't, but always let us know what you guys are thinking in the comments below. So let's get started.
We'll see you next time.
No. It's not over here. It's not over here.
It's a podcast. Okay.
That's true. That's true. So let's get started. Let's jump right in, and let's go ahead with North America. So there are 3 regions: North America, Europe, and Asia, and that's where these first-party studios lie. And we're going to start with North America. That way you guys kind of get an understanding. This should be easy. You should notice some of these names. And we're going to start with the most famous, which is Naughty Dog.
Oh my God, we're starting with the big ones. I thought
yeah. Oh, no. I figured if we're gonna make this podcast as long as it usually is, we're probably gonna dive deep into these obscure ones, the ones that people maybe don't know as well, because we're gonna have to explain it. So let's just start right off the bat with it's North America. North America, you're gonna know the majority of them. So Naughty Dog, which its history is probably what a lot of the older listeners are gonna know, like Crash Bandicoot, Jak and Daxter. Those are the big ones that they really started off with and got them pretty famous. And now, of course, what probably the younger listeners, people closer to my age, well, not my age, way younger than me. I grew up with Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter. I just didn't play them that often. But Uncharted and The Last of Us. Uncharted is really what owned the PlayStation 3 ecosystem, and then or platform, I shouldn't say ecosystem, and then The Last of Us kind of was the great transition from the PlayStation 3 to the PlayStation 4.
And chances are, if you got your PS4 over the holiday, if you just got it, chances are you got these games, a Naughty Dog game, bundled with your console. If it wasn't Battlefront, you most likely got it with The Last of Us or with the Uncharted Nathan Drake collection.
Right.
Naughty Dog games.
And easily my favorite studio. Definitely my favorite studio in PlayStation. There are other studios that could be my favorite, depending on some of the games that they're coming out with later. But let's talk about their newest game coming out, which is Uncharted 4.
Oh.
A Thief's End? Is that correct? A Thief's
End.
Yes. So that's really exciting. There's a brand new game coming out by Naughty Dog, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, and it's basically all about Nathan Drake, the protagonist of the Uncharted series, and he's meeting his brother for the not first time, but he's being reunited with his brother for the first time in a long time. There's a bunch of drama that goes with it, and they're taking a lot of cues from The Last of Us, which is a phenomenal game, my favorite game of all time.
Our favorite game of all time.
True. I'm glad you hopped up back on that Last of Us bandwagon. Seriously, if you guys have a PlayStation 4 and you have not played The Last of Us Remastered, you need to go get it. It's the best game, period. I've never played a better game. If you're super young, maybe wait. But if your parents are going to let you play it, then I think you should play it. It's not terrible. It's not as bad as other games. I think that
there's just some emotional punches that have better context the older that you are.
Yeah.
Not to misunderestimate people that are younger, but just like there's some really heavy themes in there.
And the game's not necessarily easy either.
Oh no,
it's not super hard if you put it on lower difficulties, but and it's a single player game that then gets into multiplayer later, and the multiplayer is good, but you'll feel the age of the multiplayer because it's just not as the servers aren't as fast, and you're gonna be waiting for a while.
Disaster.
Yeah, so just be aware of that. But like I said, we're talking about Uncharted 4, and Uncharted 4 is a campaign-heavy game as well, all about adventure, all about action, and it's super fun.
18 hours, I think, it took me to beat.
For Uncharted, what?
Oh, I thought we were still talking about the last one.
Oh, no. We moved on to Uncharted 4.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be an awesome game, and there are 2 components: campaign heavy, and I might have said Last of Us, but Uncharted 4, super, very campaign heavy. But there's also an awesome multiplayer that started with Uncharted 2 that was kind of just tacked on and was kind of fun. Uncharted 3 really developed it, but still had some major issues. Personally, I played their co-op kind of horde mode. I don't want to call it horde mode, but their co-op PvE, the player versus kind of AI enemies, and that was a lot of fun. We played that a ton, and now that they have this new version, it looks phenomenal. It looks phenomenal. I will probably do a hype train video on Uncharted 4 and its multiplayer, or Uncharted 4 overall. That would be really, really, really cool. So hopefully you guys look into that. But that's Naughty Dog. So that's one of the biggest studios for PlayStation. And we're not going to spend too much time on that one because you guys know the majority of it already. Crash Bandicoot, Jack and Dexter, Uncharted, and The Last of Us. And soon, Uncharted 4. So who knows what they're going to make next, but we do know that they're making another studio or another game, not another studio, but comparatively to Naughty Dog, there is a studio that we don't know what they're doing, and it's called Bend Studio.
What the heck? That really makes me mad.
Bend Studio is a little confusing. Not confusing, but you probably don't know as much from Bend Studio unless you're a Vita fan. Then you probably won't know much. Bend Studio made the Siphon Filter games, which is a PS1 game franchise, whatever. On PS1, they had these games called Siphon Filter, and it was kind of like Sam Fisher. What is that?
Splinter Cell.
Splinter Cell. It's kind of like Splinter Cell, but a lot older in terms of when I played them. I played the PS1 classic on my PSP, I think. So,
wow.
Yeah. But they also have Resistance Retribution, which is also a PSP game. And then Uncharted. No. That's a PS Vita game. That's a PS Vita game. And then Uncharted Golden Abyss, which is a PS Vita game as well. It's the only, it's the, triple A, this is in massive quotes, triple A PlayStation Vita title.
As triple A as it gets for the Vita.
Yeah, I thought it was, I think Gravity Rush is a lot better, which we'll talk about soon. But Golden Abyss was a pretty hard game to play if you weren't a fan of touch controls. They kind of shoved it down your throat. And then they also made Uncharted Fight for Fortune. So the games that they...
I forgot that it existed. Was it a gambling game?
Yeah, I mean, card game, the weird Uncharted card game. Bend Studios is an interesting studio. They had Siphon Filter, which was a pretty well-regarded game, and then kind of got put on Vita duty and portable duty.
I see.
And so it'll be interesting because they're making a new title, and I believe that it is... we know that it's for PlayStation 4, and so this will be the first time in a long time. Yes, it's for PlayStation 4, and this will be the first time in 4 years? 4 years or 3 to 4 years that they've made a game, and it'll be the first time in a long time. 7, 8 years.
8 years.
Yeah,
8 whole years.
Since they've made a game for a console instead of a handheld console. So that's a big deal. And I'm really excited to see what they do. They could revive Siphon Filter again, kind of the Splinter Cell game where it was a third-person shooter. Actually, I can't remember if it was first or third.
There was some sort of horror game that they were working on, from what I remember. And according to one of my predictions for PSX that didn't happen, was that this was it. This is when Sony Bend was going to show their new horror game. Go look it up on Google. It's I completely forget what it's called, but there were some screenshots, but we haven't heard anything about it in ages.
Go look it up on Google. Where else was I going to look it up? Go look it up on Google.
On Bing.
Yeah, what if you were literally like, hey, go look that up on Yahoo for a second?
You can really only find it on Yahoo.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I don't know much about those kind of murmurs, like what's going on with Sony Bend. I haven't heard much about a game that they're currently working on. So feel free to look it up. You can look it up on Google if you'd like while we continue, since we don't really have much to talk about for Sony Bend. We just know that there's a game coming out for them soon, and they've made a lot of Siphon Filters. Siphon Filter, and they were a company before Siphon Filter, before Siphon Filter 3. They were a company before Bend Studio. They were something else. But Siphon Filter really is what PlayStation was like, oh, we really want them. And so they made Siphon Filter 3, the Omega Strain, Dark Mirror, Logan's Shadow, which is the one I played, and Combat Ops, all Siphon Filter games. And then they never really made another game that was for them. They never.
So for those who don't know, like me, what exactly is Siphon Filter? What kind of game is it?
I don't really, like I said, it's kind of this, it's a shooter that is kind of like this Splinter Cell-esque game, but again, it's old.
Yeah, you said Splinter Cell, so I was like, stealth? Is it
Yeah, I mean, there are stealth aspects to it. It's mostly a shooter, though. Yeah, I don't really know too much how to explain it other than that. It's older, so if you look it up, I mean, I don't even really think you're going to be interested to look it up because it's just so old. And the PlayStation Portable, the PSP Siphon Filter felt just as old because it didn't have twin sticks, so it's not like it really felt like a shooter. They never made a real first-person shooter, and so the revival of Siphon Filter or something around Siphon Filter would be pretty cool. And I'm sure that studio would love to get back into it. So that's Sony Bend, Bend Studio. So next on the list is another a pretty big one if you're into sports and some other games, but which is San Diego Studios.
Oh,
so,
I figured.
Yeah, so San Diego Studios, Sony San Diego Studios is a pretty big one. And Sony San Diego makes MLB The Show, which is a pretty big deal for those that maybe don't know. But MLB,
we pretty much hold baseball. Like PlayStation holds baseball on a device.
Yeah, no other company can make a MLB game, a Major League Baseball game, and that is a pretty big deal. For those that maybe don't know that, but that is a pretty big deal. And so they make some other games as well. They've made some NBA games in the past. They've made one of my favorite arcade racers, which is Mod Nation Racers, which unfortunately was sold.
I completely forgot about that. We were talking about that the other day.
I love Mod Nation Racers. It is a PlayStation 3 game and a PlayStation Vita game, and they never moved it over to PS4. And I will talk about that in a couple seconds because they've also made Sports Champions, which was a move game that was honestly not that bad. They made the Mark of Cree, which is an older game that I actually think is being re-released or was re-released for the PlayStation.
Mark of Cree. That does sound familiar in terms of like me hearing stuff recently.
It's like a cat feline creature that it's like another like Jack and Dexter kind of game, I think. They made a game called Pain, which was a PlayStation 3 game. Let me see if I can look that up. Oh, that was that really dumb game that was also a move game where you like drove around in like a shopping cart or something and hit stuff, and it was really weird.
Tokyo, not Jungle. That's the
no, they didn't. That's not San Diego. That's not San Diego Studios.
Oh God, I can't remember at all.
They made High Velocity Bowling, Pinball Heroes. And medieval moves, Deadman's Quest, and then Little Big Planet Karting. This is another really interesting studio. I'm not there. Sony does some interesting things with their studios. They have a lot of their studios, their first party studios, go on like kind of new initiative duty. Like, oh, we have the PlayStation Move. You guys make move games. And Sony, San Diego Studios kind of got that, like they had to do that. And San Diego Studios, by the way, is also part of Sony Santa Monica. It gets kind of weird. There's this interesting way that works, but either way, San Diego Studios. So, like I said, the majority of the games that they make are MLB. That's kind of their big thing. So their most recent game is MLB 16. That I don't know if it's out yet. I'm assuming it comes out in 2016. March 29th, 2016. But they're also, oh my God, I did not know that.
What?
They're also making Drawn to Death.
Oh my God, that's
which is David Jaffe.
Yeah, that's Dave Jaffe's game.
So that's a big deal. So that's a big deal, and that comes out apparently 2015, which is not going to happen. It's going to come out in 2016, obviously. Kill Strain, which is another pretty big title for PlayStation 4.
Is that the free-to-play one?
Yeah, it's the free-to-play MOBA. It's but it's a PlayStation 4 MOBA, so built for PlayStation 4, which I'm really excited for because
means it will be covered on this channel.
Yeah, definitely. It's a free game. They've been getting a whole bunch of YouTubers and stuff to come play the game, people in media to play the game for a while now, and they've just been kind of letting the hype train roll underground for a while. The Underground Railroad, if you will. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
The underground hype train is rolling for this game, Kill Strain. They also, unfortunately, made Guns Up but it was a collaboration with Valkyrie Entertainment apparently,
which came out PSX, right?
It was dropped that day. And then before that they made MLB 15, 14, and 13, but they did have this kind of duty for making move games for a while. And so, but it's nice to see. I kind of forgot about the games that they were coming out with. So MLB 16 is coming out. Drawn to Death, which is an awesome third-person shooter made by the crazy developer David Jaffe, who makes awesome games.
Bonkers.
He is the creative director of God of War, all of God of War, and Twisted Metal, and those games are crazy. Twisted Metal being obviously the most insane. So if you haven't played a Twisted Metal game, which probably a lot of you haven't, it's basically a crazy arcade driver or racing game, kind of. It's Destruction Derby. It's Destruction Derby, which probably doesn't even mean anything to a lot of you now. There aren't any Destruction Derby games out currently.
Not at all.
No, there are not.
You can't even compare Mario Kart to anything like that. That's literally pretty unique in itself.
Yeah, Mario Kart is probably the closest, and then Mod Nation Racers, and unfortunately, again, Mod Nation Racers was sold to the devil and given to somehow given to Little Big Planet. I love Little Big Planet, but for some reason they just thought it was going to be better and sell better on the Little Big Planet platform or the Little Big Planet franchise, and they made Little Big Planet
actually like alienated everyone because you and I saw that and we're like, what the heck is this?
We got it for free for PlayStation Plus,
free, yeah.
And it was terrible. They didn't even have boosting. You couldn't even boost in the game.
Nope.
I was mad. Anyway, and I really loved My Nation Racers. It was a lot of fun. And I think it could have really done some great things, but it didn't because they got rid of it. Anyway, so Kill Strain, Drawn to Death, and MLB 16 are the new games coming out for Sony San Diego Studios. So that's exciting.
It is exciting.
Yeah, definitely exciting. We'll definitely be covering Drawn to Death and Kill Strain on Change Your Gaming.
I can't wait. You know I can't wait for Drawn to Death. That just looks absolutely bizarre and bonkers.
Drawn to Death is crazy. I mean, it's literally, the art style is pen and paper. So definitely take a look at that if you guys are interested.
Like, it's like sketches in like a punk kid's high school notebook that he draws during class. So it's between notes and stuff, and guns are made out of different like sentences or like.
I assume that this is what David Jaffe did when he was a young child. He sat there in middle school or high school or elementary school, whatever, and just drew these figures. And look at Drawn to Death. I think you guys will be interested. Okay, so San Diego Studios. Next is another big one. Actually, before we get to that one, because that one's pretty big, we'll go to Pixelopus.
Pixel Junk, folks?
No, Pixelopus. It's a newer studio. Pixelopus. It's a small team within Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios, and they've made one game, and that game is Entwine. Entwine was this.
That was made by a couple college graduates, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was an interesting. It was an interesting game that was, like you said, was made by these with the help of a college. I don't remember if it was college graduates. I'm actually going to kind of look this up now.
And while you're looking that up, I'll talk about the game itself. So the idea was that with each of the sticks, you play as a bird and a fish, and it's kind of like a platformer if you combine that with like the polygonal style of, say, something like Star Fox. And you go through each respective colors of the bird and the fish, and you combine them, and you're basically it's a story about forbidden love. It's really beautiful. We got it for free for cross buy on
Vita
and PS4.
And 3, it was all of them.
Decent game, very decent game. I don't regret playing it.
Yeah, it was free, and so I played it for a bit, and it was fun. I got some trophies, and it was really an artistic game, and I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed that, and yeah, as you said, it was the studio consists of former game design students, and is part of Sony Computer Entertainment Worldwide Studios in general. So it's interesting. We'll see what happens with Entwine. I'm not really sure, not Entwine, but Pixel Opus. Let's just split them.
Pixel Opus. Yeah. Like Magnum Opus, but it's a pixel.
Pixel, yeah. And so, I mean, even in the name Pixel Opus, obviously makes it sound like there's a lot of art involved in music, which there was a lot of music involved in
very
Twine.
beautiful music.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they're doing, what the next game is, because that game came out in 2004, and so I'm very interested to see what Pixel Opus is doing for the PlayStation 4 natively, hopefully. But there is no information. Hopefully they'll continue making really artistic games and pushing their vision and growing with PlayStation, and maybe they just saw these really talented folks, grabbed them, and they were like, hey, make a quick game and let's see what you can do. And then maybe they did, and now they're part of Sony Computer Entertainment. Who knows? But it's definitely very interesting that this small team made a mediocre game, not a bad game by any means, but a mediocre game.
Just a ho-hum game.
Yeah, that is now a full studio. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Maybe they're making something for VR, huh? Entwined for VR.
Highly possible. I could see. I hope it's not Entwined VR. I hope it's its own VR game. And it is highly possible that in 2014 that studio dropped the game, and now they're not working on anything. It's probably VR. I completely agree with that. That is highly, highly possible.
It makes sense because they can't let their bigger name studios go onto VR unless they really want to. But smaller stuff that's not doing much, I mean, they're the ones that are able to experiment with this technology without any real repercussion.
Agreed. So that'll be interesting to see what Pixel Opus does. Let's get to one of the bigger ones now. Sony Santa Monica Studios. Santa Monica Studios.
A diverse studio, if there ever was one.
Yeah, Sony Santa Monica is a big one. Let's just list off some of the games that they've made, and you guys will know these right off the bat. God of War, Twisted Metal, Pixel Junk series, which is a phenomenal series, especially if you're just kind of playing with some friends, co-op series. Take a look at that. Fat Princess. Some other ones that I don't even want to mention. Like, you probably haven't even noticed some of these: Kinetica, Downhill Domination, War of the Monsters, The Con, Neopets. The Darkest Fairy Blast Factor. Don't even... Calling All Cars, which is actually a good game. Warhawk, which is a great franchise. Warhawk and Starhawk. Everyday Shooter, which I thought was part of Pixel Junk. Linger in the Shadows. Flower and Flow. I didn't know that they published those.
It's really interesting. Another really interesting aesthetic thing about Santa Monica is that their logo changes color palettes depending on the theme of the game.
Yo, I love Sony Santa Monica. Sony Santa Monica is like, they have an awesome video on PlayStation's YouTube channel that talks about Sony Santa Monica, and that's it. They just talk about the studio, and they're awesome. They are so awesome, so creative, and they care a lot about gamers and gaming and their products and what they're doing. And their logo, they literally talked at least 15 minutes about their logo. It wasn't 15, it was 5 probably. 3, but they talked about their logo a lot, and it was really cool. I'm glad you brought that up, because their logo is really cool, very simplistic, but the palette changes depending on the game. That was pretty cool.
Beyond the scale of cool.
Yeah, but anyway, that's me and Peaches nerding out about other things that you guys probably aren't interested in. But Sony Santa Monica is one of the biggest studios that they have, if not the biggest. And they work with a lot of other companies. So it may seem like Sony Santa Monica produces games like all the time, but it's true. They produce a lot of games. They don't necessarily always develop games. A lot of collaboration is going on. So for example, if we look at just the PS4 titles, move back a little bit. Here we go. Escape Plan was a Vita game that was moved over to the PlayStation 4. That was by Sony Santa Monica, but was in collaboration with Funbits Interactive and Wholesale Algorithms, the two different companies. So they worked with three companies. Three companies worked on this one game. And then they also worked on Sound Shapes, which I love, by the way.
That's a great game.
Sound Shapes is a phenomenal game. Yeah, great Vita game, great PlayStation 4 and 3 game, cross-buy, which is another collaboration with Queasy, I think. Queasy Games.
Queasy.
And Wholesale Algorithms must be like...
Are those the folks that do predominantly music-themed stuff?
Queasy Games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and again, in collaboration with Wholesale Algorithms, which I think is like a consulting group actually, but I have to look that up. The Unfinished Swan, again, worked with Giant Sparrow, worked with Armature, is that right? Armature, yeah, Armature Studios. But it was really great. Giant Sparrow's game, and they helped them with that. Let's see, Hohokum, which is by Honey Slug. Yeah, by Honey Slug, The Fat Princess, Piece of Cake, which is actually a mobile game that was produced by One Loop Games, but again, in collaboration. The Order 1886 was in collaboration with Ready at Dawn. Ready at Dawn is not a first-party studio, I think. Yeah, it's a second-party studio, I think, and works with, but they make first-party works through Sony Santa Monica. So as you can see, there are a lot of games that kind of come out. Actually, one of the most recent, everybody's going to the Rapture, which is made by the Chinese Room, but again in collaboration with Sony Santa Monica. Games that are coming out that we know of, there are 3. God of War.
Oh yeah,
new God of War project. We don't know what it is, but we know that it's supervised by Cory Barlog. Don't know who he is, but
I was about to say, who?
This is just on Wikipedia.
Okay.
They also have a game called Bound, which we don't know much about. Developed by Plastic Studios, but again, in conjunction with Sony Santa Monica. And then we actually do know about this one, the Modern Zombie Taxi Company.
I shouldn't be as excited for that as I am.
And that's a VR game. So 3 games that are to be announced when they're supposed to come out. Also another game called Wattam, Wattam.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, which is by the Katamari guy. We Love Katamari, or Katamari Damacy. Which you guys probably, again, have no idea what that is, because that was 2004 or 2005 when that came out. But it's an awesome game. Katamari Damacy, go check that out. Anyway, that they should either, they don't have to remake it, but make that a
imagine all the
emulator,
all the particles that you could put on, like with the new Katamari Damacy.
I want to emulate it. I want to emulate it for PS4. That's what I want.
Oh, one of the PS2 games. Oh,
yeah.
We're totally gonna see Katamari. That's a
I'd love to see that. Oh, I'm gonna tweet it. I'm gonna live tweet it right now.
Tweet at Shuhei Yoshida. I'd like to have Katamari.
Because people watch our GearCast enough that we have Twitter fans, which I don't think I've ever even talked about my Twitter, which, by the way, is Brandon NM Davis.
And I want the first Parappa the Rapper.
Yeah, I saw that the second one's coming out. But anyway, so that's Sony Santa Monica Studios, guys. There's a whole bunch going on there. They're making games constantly, publishing games constantly. So you'll see a lot from them. But obviously, their biggest one is God of War, and so that new project will come out soon. And then Bound, which we don't know much about, and the Modern Zombie Taxi Company.
Oh yeah.
So let's move on. And this is the end of the North America Studios. And the last one, and probably the second most important. Naughty Dog is definitely, or I shouldn't say important, but the second most well known, and probably my second favorite studio in all of PlayStation. Dude, you outside?
Me? Oh no, my window's just open. I live in Boston. I live predominantly in the city, so.
Gotcha. So I live on the 21st floor in Chicago, so you're not going to hear anything up here. But
a soft honk in the distance.
Right, maybe you'll hear the train. You guys have already heard the train before. Not super loud, but anyway. Second favorite studio here for PlayStation, and that would be Sucker Punch Studios in Seattle, which is where I would love to move. Actually, it's not in Seattle, but it's in Washington. Sucker Punch Studios. There are 2 games that they've made, and that is Sly Cooper and Infamous. Well, obviously more games than just 2, but Sly Cooper and Infamous, 2 phenomenal franchises. They've never made a bad game as far as I know. They've made an annoying game.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, they actually started out on Nintendo 64, just putting that out there. They made a game called Robot on Wheels, and that was for N64. I just saw this. And then after that, they were bought by PlayStation, and they made Sly Cooper, the Thievius Raccoonus, Sly Cooper 2, Band of Thieves, Sly Cooper 3, Honor Among Thieves, and then they made Infamous 1. And then they made the Sly Cooper Collection, so bundled it all up for PlayStation 3. Then they made Infamous 2, which personally
our favorite
downfall. No, not true. Not true.
That's the joke.
Not true. I love Infamous 1. And then Infamous 2 was good gameplay, but they changed the character, and I did not like the change. Infamous Festival of Blood, which came out the same year. And then I didn't know this. They ported over Street Fighter vs. Tekken.
You're kidding me.
To PlayStation Vita. They did that. Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And then they made Infamous Second Son and Infamous First Light. Also, phenomenal games. If you find this on PlayStation, the PlayStation Store, or a GameStop or something, for cheap, get it. Get it.
For cheap dollars.
Yeah, I mean, you should get it no matter what, but you should find it cheap because it's old now. It was a launch title, or it was almost a launch title. I think. I don't think it actually was a launch title. I can't remember. But definitely 100% getting Infamous Second Son and Infamous First Light, which is a standalone DLC. But definitely play. Definitely, I platinum both of them. Or I don't think you can platinum First Light, but I platinumed it. And
yes, you can.
First Light.
Yeah.
Okay, platinum both of them. I love First Light. I love it. It's phenomenal, and I love Second Son. And the characters I personally find amazing. I did not have an attachment to Cole after Infamous 2, so I loved the new characters, and I went right into it. Really enjoyed it. But that was 2014. That was a year ago. What are they doing now? What are they doing? What are they making?
Okay, I'm gonna spill the beans. I'm the protagonist of Infamous 3.
Oh my god!
I control. I'm like Mickey Mouse. My power is using like energy beams, like with brush strokes.
If you guys haven't played any of the Infamous games, seriously, get Infamous Second Son. It's like a PlayStation. Like it's what like if you get a PlayStation, you need to play Uncharted, which now everybody can play Uncharted 4. The Last of Us, which you can play The Last of Us Remastered. God of War, which you'll be able to play the new one, or God of War 3 Remastered. What else? I'm trying to think of other big games that they have. Crap. You need to play well, Infamous. Infamous is another huge title. These are games that you need to play on PlayStation. Otherwise, why be on PlayStation?
Ooh, you know? How about for a bit of a Christmas special? We'll talk about, of course, our favorite games, but the games you need to play as a PlayStation fan.
Oh, we could do that. Yeah. We could definitely do that. That's a good idea. PlayStation 4, like gift guide, not gift guide because it'll be too late for that. But PlayStation 4 games you need to play, and hopefully you'll buy with your money, with the money you got for Christmas.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be good. But like I said, we don't know what they're coming out with next. Hopefully it's another Infamous. I love the Infamous series. They could easily make another Infamous and it would be awesome. They could open it to so many different powers, but they could also make a completely new franchise, and I would love to see that. I'm not super interested in another Sly. Granted, there is a Sly Cooper movie coming out.
We haven't heard from them in a while in terms of the movie, but that was a great trailer.
Right, and that's because it's by Blockade, and Blockade is making the Ratchet and Clank movie.
Oh, of course.
And if they follow the same pattern, they will make a game with it as well. And so maybe they will introduce Sly Cooper, reintroduce it, and that would be cool if they reimagine Sly Cooper. I would definitely enjoy that. I think
crossover movie. Can we have the SC? Can we have the Sony Cinematic Universe?
That would be pretty cool. I would be down for that.
I'm burnt out on the old Marvel, but I would love to hop on some Sony Cinematic Universe.
That would be cool. And I would love to see, honestly, I'd love to see a new franchise. I think it's time for them to kind of get into a new franchise.
Totally.
But they're not going to give up on Sly, and they're not going to give up on Infamous. So whatever they make for 2016 or 2017, hopefully we hear something soon, whether it be for VR or whether it be for just the PlayStation platform. I'll be ready for it.
I'll be ready too.
So those are all of the North America studios. Again, just a recap: Naughty Dog, Ben Studios, Sony San Diego Studio, Sony Santa Monica Studio, Sucker Punch Productions, and then Pixel Opus. So those are pretty big ones. Those are the ones that you've probably heard of the most, but there are a lot also in Europe, and there are also a lot in Asia. Which one do you want to go through first, Europe or Asia?
Let's do Europe.
Europe. All right, cool. So this first one is pretty simple. They really only have two, what I would say, big games that you guys will probably notice, and this is Evolution Studios. And the big one that a lot of you, again, probably haven't played is MotorStorm. MotorStorm is a big. They also made World Rally Championship, which was like on PlayStation 2. Mm-hmm. But then they kind of scrapped that for MotorStorm. And let me give you guys their kind of the games that they've created throughout time. Very simple chronological development. World Rally Championship, which was a big racer for PlayStation 2. That was 2001. Mm-hmm. 2002, they made World Rally Championship 2, Extreme. 2003. they made World Rally Championship 3. 2004, they made WRC. I'm now going to stop saying the whole thing. 4. 2005, they made, so this is every year they've made a World Rally Championship game. These were all this was all for PS2. So these games were doing well enough that they literally just kept making them every year, which is surprising because I don't know any Sony games that are, or PlayStation games that are on annual release cycle. But WRC was. And their last WRC game was Rally Evolved, and that was on PS2. So moving over to PS3, they then created MotorStorm. And I remember playing that because that was a launch, or it may not have been launch, but it was on, you'd go to Target or Walmart and you'd play the PlayStation 3.
Oh, it was a demo game.
And it was a demo game, right. So they had MotorStorm, which is 2006. And then MotorStorm Pacific Rift, which was 2008.
They said Pacific Rim for a second. I'm like, oh.
I almost did. MotorStorm Pacific Rift. I played both of those games. They were a lot of fun. They're arcadey. They have like dune buggies and motorcycles. Or not motorcycles, what are those things called? Dirt bikes. And then 2011, they made MotorStorm Apocalypse, which again, which was for 2011 for PlayStation 3. And then 1 year later, they made MotorStorm RC, which was for PlayStation 3 and Vita, which was a great Vita game, actually. I enjoyed it a lot.
Really?
Yeah, it was like a little RC kind of, play it when when you have free time, and it was like levels. So you'd beat the level and you could kind of go home, which was a great Vita game. Great, phenomenal Vita game. And then they did a really weird thing where they made Drive Club. Let me explain why this is weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
There is a, which we'll get to, but I won't even name it. There is a huge premier driving game that is a console seller. Again, I won't even name it. You guys will know what I'm talking about. If you know, if you don't, you'll hear it soon. But it's a console seller. And then they made Drive Club, which was another racer. Now it wasn't a terrible decision because Drive Club actually sells units. Like it doesn't sell PlayStation 4 units, but it sells like games. And it was a PlayStation Plus weird release. Didn't really happen. Then happened later. I tried it, didn't like it, so I didn't play it. But Drive Club is kind of the
you and I aren't really a fan of more driving simmy stuff.
Exactly, I completely agree. Driving Club was this weird in-between between driving sim and arcade, and it was a little too simmy for me, a little too simulation-based, and so I didn't really play it much. But people really like it, but it was a bizarre thing. They dropped MotorStorm, and it seems like they do this every single time. PlayStation 2, they had WRC. PlayStation 3, they had MotorStorm, and now PlayStation 4, it seems like they have Drive Club. And now they have Drive Club bikes, so maybe they're trying to bring in MotorStorm kind of elements. Who knows?
Which is out right now.
Right. That's how they released it. But it'll be interesting to see what Evolution Studios comes up with. Will they continue the Drive Club universe? Honestly, I hope not. I mean, they can continue it, but I'd love to see MotorStorm. I'd love to see another type of racing game that is more arcadey, that's more fun, that's less simulation based and more, I shouldn't have said fun, but less simulation based, more casual. You'll give us the casual version of this. Let me feel like I'm part of the, I can play any of these games. Like when I go on PlayStation, I have a ton of games. I don't just play shooters. I don't just play, action games or adventure games or RPGs. I don't really play sports games. But I do play racing games every once in a while, and with MotorStorm, it was kind of that game that allowed me to play a racing game without me really playing a racing game,
Which, disclaimer, I figured we should say this now. The way that me and Chain Gear use the term casual, it's with particularly with an audience that doesn't game particularly that much, but also in a way that if we say that this game is more casual than most, that just means it's easy to get into.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We don't hold that term negatively whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm certainly casual in a lot of spaces. Don't be confused. I'm hardcore, meaning I play many hours and I really care about the game. For Blacklight Retribution, I am extremely casual when it comes to Call of Duty. So when I say that there is a casual game, I basically mean that it is less intense in terms of the audience that is usually prescribed to it. There are people who need their dose of NBA 2K. They need it. They need NBA 2K 13, 14, 15, 16. That is a hardcore audience. They have tournaments and that stuff, like there are people who spend hours, hours and hours and hours a day playing that game to get really good. And I feel as though that it's not always super easy to get into. There's kind of a barrier to entry where MotorStorm was easy. You picked it up and you started playing it. Sure, you could play the game hardcore, but I think they made it that way casual players, people who weren't going to play it a ton, could get in and have fun. They actually mentioned that. Right. Smash Bros is made for Smash Bros Brawl, especially, was made for a casual audience, and then the hardcore audience hated that. And now the newest Super Smash Bros is made for a hardcore audience that allows casuals to play it, and I think that's a great way to do that. Drive Club was made for casual audience. They actually said that. They were like, we want anybody to be able to play this game, from casuals to hardcore, and it seems like they've been doing a good job with that, but I'm just not a huge fan, and so I'd love to see MotorStorm come back. But that was in 2014, so it's possible we'll see another game in the next 2 years, possible we'll see one in the next 4 years. They could just continue adding content to Drive Club, and I hope that's not the case.
On the subject of Smash Bros real quick, shout out to our buddy Cloud, PlayStation exclusive character, making his debut on Smash Bros. Congratulations to him. Awesome.
I can't even.
Side note.
I mean, if we're going to talk about Cloud, we might as well talk about Bayonetta as well.
Oh my god, yeah, that was nuts. What the heck's going on there?
Don't know. I'm uncomfortable.
It is very uncomfortable.
Smash. That's a Nintendo podcast. We could do GearCast The Others. We'll do GearCast episode 11 The Others, where we talk about the other companies that we never talk about, like Nintendo and Xbox. But
so who's next for the European studios?
Next for the European studios would be London Studio. This is a pretty funky studio that I would say kind of again gets that like random duty. They're like, oh yeah, like you guys we need VR games, or we need Move games or Vita games. So let me read a couple of these things that maybe you've heard of. SingStar is probably their biggest.
Oh man, I could have been making SingStar jokes all this time instead of Farming Simulator jokes.
Well, so, no, I would say SingStar is a little bit different. SingStar is a karaoke game. That's like making, I don't know, like Guitar Hero jokes. Farming Simulator is a little bit different set of games. But SingStar is a game, Dance Star, which is no longer really a thing because of
Just Dance.
Kind of just destroyed it. They made the iToy series, which was a PlayStation 2 VR device. Yes, PlayStation has been in the game of VR, or sorry, not VR, AR, augmented reality. They've been in the camera AR game for a long time. So before people start stabbing them for making the move, they had the iToy a long time ago. Anyway, they made the iPet series, which was weird. They made the Wonder Book series.
I don't know what that is. I don't know what you're talking about.
Me either. They made the Getaway series, which I assume is probably the new VR game, actually.
That's VR, yeah. London Getaway, yep.
But I don't know why that doesn't show up. So that actually might... Oh, no, it definitely is. Yeah, the Getaway. So, and interesting that it comes up as series, because that means that maybe that there's going to be more. I don't know.
Bristol Getaway.
Disclaimer.
Carfax Getaway.
Disclaimer, I have a whole bunch of notes on my screen, so if you see me keep going down, it's because I'm looking at the internet, and I'm looking at pre-made notes that I made before this GearCast, just so you guys know. So they made PlayStation Home. They were the guys that made PlayStation Home.
Wow. Shout out to PlayStation Home. That was like a Sims kind of a community hub for you and your friends to explore, like a little MMO thing.
People loved that. Like, people were obsessed with PlayStation Home.
Well, then again, people are obsessed with Toontown, so...
Well, I agreed, but I mean, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if some of our viewers play Toontown. But just that community sense, people really, really loved PlayStation Home. It was a very bizarre game or social space, but it was a good idea. And I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it revitalized or reborn in a VR format. Just saying.
Wow. That would change everything, actually.
Yeah, it would definitely make a difference. So, but yeah, so they did a lot of random things here. You probably wouldn't even know any of these other ones. So let's talk about some of the games that have come out for PlayStation 4, which is the Playroom. So these are the guys that developed the thing for the PlayStation camera, which I actually have right here. If anyone's interested in making videos on PlayStation, the PlayStation camera is really good. And it's definitely worth picking up for the money. It's pretty inexpensive. I think it was like $60. So in terms of a webcam, it's
might be a
pretty
little bit
inexpensive.
cheaper now.
Yeah, well, I don't know about that. They probably won't discount the peripheral unless you find it like in GameStop used. But they don't usually discount peripherals much. Like the PlayStation controller still costs the same amount. But the camera is definitely worth getting if you guys are interested in making videos on PlayStation, like Share Factory and stuff. Definitely worth it. I would definitely recommend it. But yeah, so they made the Playroom. They made the newest SingStar, which is actually a pretty big deal. I haven't actually played it, but I plan on it because I have some friends coming over that like to sing.
Who could that be? Who could that be?
Oh, I didn't mean you. This is awkward.
Oh no, that was a genuine question.
Just some friends, just some friends from school, from college.
Cool.
They're also making Street Luge, which is that weird VR game, that like the one where you're in like the bobsled thing, which is or a luge, I think it's called. But you're in the bobsled thing and you're going down the street and you're dodging cars. I don't know if you've seen that VR demo, but it's been out there for a while. But to be completely honest, they haven't made a game in a long time. Their last game was SingStar Ultimate Party, which again was that PS4 game. Otherwise, they made games every year, multiple games every year, and so it could be that they're really working. That London studio is working hard on Project Morpheus or PlayStation VR.
Right.
So it would be interesting. They have Street Luge. You know, if that's a thing, if that's a real game, then okay, cool. But I'm trying to figure out if they're actually part of, if London Studios, no, never mind. Okay, yeah, so London Studios, not a huge, they make a whole bunch of like, you know, tiny games kind of, not tiny games, but like again, iToy stuff and SingStar and, you know, stuff like that. SingStar was probably their biggest game. So, and then Wonderbook. Wonderbook.
What's that?
I don't know.
You keep mentioning this Wonderbook thing. I'm starting to think that
again, don't look up Wonderbook. Whatever you do, don't look up Wonderbook. Don't go in the comment section below and don't tell me what it is. And if you do, I don't even know. I was gonna say there's gonna be a giveaway, but there's not. I'm not giving a giveaway.
Giving away Wonderbook.
If you tell me what Wonderbook is, I'm not gonna give you anything. Don't do it.
You're literally cut out of the contest.
All right. So anyway. So Evolution Studios, London Studios, again, London Studios isn't doing too much. Hopefully they're working on VR games. That's what I'm gonna hope for.
Oh, yeah.
So let's go for a big one. Media Molecule.
Oh, you know me. There's I think these are among my top 3 favorite studios.
Yep, I can definitely see that. I can see that for you. Media Molecule hasn't been around for that long, actually. Media Molecule started in 2006. And their first game was Little Big Planet. Their first game was Little Big Planet on the PlayStation 3, Little Big Planet 2 for the PlayStation 3, Tearaway for the Vita, Tearaway Unfolded for the PlayStation for the PlayStation 4, and then I believe that they collaborated for Little Big Planet 3. Yeah, they collaborated.
Yeah, they collaborated. I know that it wasn't a first party thing because they were busy doing Tearaway for PS4 or Dreams.
No, that's correct. It was Tearaway for the Vita.
Okay.
So Little Big Planet was ported to the PlayStation Portable, the PSP, with Cambridge Studios, which is no longer, which we'll talk about. Then Sackboy's Prehistoric Adventures, or Prehistoric Moves, which was a move game, I believe, which was, again, developed with XDev and Supermassive on PlayStation 3. And then Little Big Planet PS Vita, which was a Vita game, again, that was worked with other studios. Then Little Big Planet Karting, Curse You, Little Big Planet Karting, and then Little Big Planet 3, which was with the help of Sumo Digital.
I see.
Yeah, which
Sumo
I have not played yet. But Media Molecule, so like we said, Tearaway Unfolded, and now for 2016 they're making Dreams. How about you talk about Media Molecule for a bit? Because I know you're a big fan of Media
I'm
Molecule.
a very big fan of Media Molecule. I love them. They're the real artsy fartsy folks of Sony Studios. Their Sony first party studios. So you can create. Oh man, they're just. Oh my god.
Let's start with Little Big Planet.
Start with Little Big Planet. So the reason why I got into them so much is that they create a Little Big Planet, which is basically a major. Imagine like Papercraft Mario. Basically, you get to customize not only your little character running along at a side scroller thing, but it was a community where you can make your own levels, customize the levels any way that you want. You share them online. So I remember me and my buddy Adam, our buddy Adam, would go online on Little Big Planet for hours and just find like shark dodging mini games that people made. Those are real popular. But no, they are really put emphasis on creation, customization, world building, and online creativity for the most part. I think that boils it down to a fine paste.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, online creativity is definitely the way that it went. They really wanted. What was it? Play, create, and share. That was
create, share.
That was their three big things.
Yes.
And play was great. I mean, definitely Little Big Planet 1.
We played it a lot.
Great game. I don't remember if it was platinumed, but we got a lot, and mostly because I had two friends that were obsessed with it at one point. They were obsessed with it, and then they got obsessed with Little Big Planet 2, and they beat that as well. Little Big Planet 3 again. I haven't played it yet. Yeah, I have it, and I would love to play it at some point with like a group of friends or something. That would be cool because it can kind of a lonely game if you play it by yourself because it's a really big game. So I would definitely play it with other people. But
the one I'm most excited for is Dreams, which is like apparently you're going to be making like basically anything. It's a little hard to describe, and I know they're having trouble describing it right now. But essentially, they're making a platform in which you can make your own, not only make your own levels, but make your own sorts of like videos and like you're basically creating dreams and sharing them with your friends. As weird and vague as that sounds, it's something that I'm genuinely excited for because they give you like all this control. Make your own shapes, make your own characters, make your own sets, and you know me, I'm gonna waste hours on that.
Yeah, there are some really interesting videos on PlayStation Access YouTube channel and PlayStation's YouTube channel, but I think mostly
PlayStation Access.
Yeah, they talk about they really kind of dive into Dreams and how it works. And if you haven't seen that yet, Peaches, you should definitely take a look because they literally talk about how the game works, like how you play the game. Finally. And it was really, really, really good video. So definitely check that out. But yeah,
I would love to.
Yeah, so we know what they're working on, and that's good. Dreams. And that'll be interesting to see how people work with that creativity, who buys it, who plays it. I'm not sure that the game is going to sell phenomenal or fantastic.
Oh, I don't think it is at all, actually. I think it's probably going to sell like as much as not as much as Little Big Planet 1 when it came out.
Little Big Planet actually sells a lot.
Yeah, that's why I held back my my statement there.
Yeah.
But I think those who buy it are going to be really into it. I think it's going to be a cult game that's going to be around for a while.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'll definitely I'll probably get it because I know people like you who are creative are going to get it. And I know that I won't necessarily have to make stuff, but I can get involved with that creative community and I can play people's dreams. And I think that's what's really cool about it.
I'm going to share all my dreams with you.
I swear I don't get paid for this. It sounds like I'm like, oh, I just want to play people's dreams and share the dreams with them. No, but yeah, so that'll definitely be interesting. But that's
nightmares.
No, God, that's Media Molecule. They're pretty, like I said, they're a pretty big, important company to PlayStation after Little Big Planet was created, and that really was a big deal. So Media Molecule, hats off to you.
Hats off to you. Indeed.
Let's go to a more obscure company that we know nothing about, and that would be Northwest Studio. We literally know nothing about Northwest Studio.
Northwest Studio.
Northwest Studio is they are making VR games.
I see.
Yeah, and that's new. Yeah, they're a new studio.
Okay.
And obviously, we don't know anything about them. Literally, if you Google Northwest Studio, you'll find things like, oh, Sony's making a new studio for VR. And that's all we really know about it. So I'm excited because we have no idea what they're making.
Do you think this is a studio dedicated to VR?
Oh, no, it is.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, no, they were like, we're making this studio for VR. And I think that's awesome because if they can leverage this one of two ways. They can either allow that studio to create tons of VR games, or they can be the studio that collaborates with other first-party, second-party, and third-party studios to help with VR. And I think that's the way to go. Make a couple demos, make it work, give them for free, let us play it, and then help the other studios while maybe having a smaller team work on a long-term project.
I see.
So it'll be interesting to see where Northwest Studios go. Not a ton to talk about, just some awesome VR, hopes and dreams. But let's get away from
dreams in VR.
Let's get away from obscure companies and let's go straight into the biggest studio that is in Europe, and that is easily Guerrilla Games. Guerrilla Games, and there are two parts of Guerrilla Games. I mentioned Cambridge Studios, which is now Guerrilla Cambridge. But let's talk about Guerrilla first. You guys know Guerrilla, if you know Guerrilla, which you should, from Killzone. And Killzone is another game that if you're on PlayStation, you need to play Killzone. Killzone Shadowfall was a pretty good game. In terms of Killzone, it wasn't the best, but Killzone Shadowfall is a good game and is pretty inexpensive. I assume it's got to be $20 at this point. It was a launch title.
Oh yeah, it's less than 20 right now. It was 15 something, because I know that our buddy Brennan, he was eyeballing it at the old GameStop.
Definitely worth getting it. Buy it, however you want, digital, GameStop, whatever. Definitely worth getting it.
According to our rating system, how much would you have paid for it?
I paid full price and I liked it.
Okay.
I paid full price and I loved it. I mean, I played the campaign. I thought was really good. The story was even pretty good. Now that I think about it, the story was the story was pretty good. The ending, I was like, wow, it got me surprised. If you're into the Killzone universe, if you're into the Killzone universe, I think you'll like it more. But if you're not, I think it's a good introduction to the Killzone universe even. And so definitely play it. I think you'll enjoy it. It does a couple different things that you haven't seen in a shooter before. And it's definitely a lot of fun. The multiplayer probably isn't super live right now. It might be, but
I know that they do intense co-op-y stuff.
Well, they had so Killzone Shadowfall had a multiplayer component that was okay, but they had a live team that constantly worked on it and constantly made it better. Actually, one of my favorite YouTubers that recently got into Destiny, which is why he's so famous now, is Mesa Sean.
Mesa Sean, like MESA Sean?
Yes, SEAN. And he started, but his YouTube channel started with Killzone Shadowfall. Shout out to Mesa Sean. It started with Killzone Shadowfall, and he loved that game. And I started playing again because he would talk about the updates to the game and how awesome the game was becoming. And they added this huge standalone. I think it might have been standalone. This is huge.
I think the co-op is standalone.
Yeah, they had a huge co-op like edition, which was awesome. I only played it a little bit. Played it with Phoenix a bit and really, really enjoyed it. So definitely get your hands on it if you can. And then they actually, again, just to keep talking about Mesa Sean for a second, just because I mentioned him, Mesa Sean then actually played a little bit of Blacklight Retribution. And I tried to get him to play a little bit more. I talked to him a little bit. We never got into a game together. And then he got into Destiny. And now he's one of the biggest Destiny, not one of the biggest, but he's a well-renowned Destiny YouTuber. So if you guys are interested in Destiny or even just looking at some old Killzone footage, go ahead and take a look at Mesa Sean. So again, shout out to Mesa Sean, another fellow YouTuber. Definitely a lot more subscribers and viewers than I have, but definitely a good YouTuber to check out. So Guerrilla Games, Killzone. Phenomenal game series. It was supposed to be the Halo killer. Didn't really work out that way.
No, definitely not.
But it definitely was a big deal. Interesting. I think I'm missing a studio actually. Now that I think about it. Oh no. That comes later. Whew, that was scary.
Careful, you.
Ooh. I'll get to it. But yeah, so the games that were created by Guerrilla Studios was actually Shell Shock. Shell Shock Nom 67, and that was a Windows title, an Xbox title, and a
Windows title.
So Guerrilla started as a third-party studio, was bought by PlayStation.
Oh, I think I did read this story, like the whole how Guerrilla came to be with us.
Yeah. And then they made Killzone 1. Killzone 1 on the PS2, Killzone Liberation for the PlayStation Portable, which was actually a phenomenal PlayStation Portable game. Phenomenal. Right. And then Killzone 2, which I think I did play Killzone 2. I don't remember. Yes, I did play Killzone 2. I played Killzone 2. That was my first Killzone game, Killzone 2, and then Killzone 3. And I really loved the story at that point. That's when I really got into it.
I
Killzone
see.
3, Killzone
You lost
3 is
hours to that, man.
I did. I did. Killzone 2 was one of my first M-rated titles. I turned 16 or 17 or however you have to be, and I bought like all the M-rated titles I could. And Killzone 2 was one of them. And
shout
I played
out to our pal Amy, who you lost a lot of hours playing that game.
Woo! Killzone 3. Killzone 3, me, a really good friend of mine, Amy at the time, and or Young Tree, I think her name is on PlayStation 3. Not that she plays much anymore. And
That's a good name.
And Ballistic Phoenix. We were the trio. We played that game so much. Amy was a medic. I was an engineer, which usually I play medic, but she was a really good medic. I played engineer, and Phoenix was really bad at the game. And he tried to play sniper, and he was so bad. But we had so much fun. Killzone 3 was really one of those first games, again, another first-person shooter game that really got me into FPS in general, not including Mag. Obviously, Mag was really the one that got me into it. But Killzone 3, really great
Never
game.
without an episode where we can't mention Mag.
No. I will talk about Mag until the end of time.
Welcome to Magcast.
Until I get a Mag 2.
On VR.
or Mag More. I don't even care what you call it.
Magma.
Shout out to the late Zipper Interactive, which we'll talk about later as well. So, Killzone 2, Killzone 3, Killzone Shadowfall, and now Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh!
Which is so out of scope for them. A third-person, prehistoric, yet at the same time post-apocalyptic.
Okay, I can do this. Okay, so our
Let's see how you do.
Okay. So the world has ended, and essentially the planet got basically nature has tried to reclaim what was rightfully theirs with our own technology, which is why we have this like giant like dinosaur like robot hybrids. And our girl, do you remember her name?
Alloy.
Alloy. Okay.
Or it's like Aloy. I think they say it weird on purpose.
Whatever. Aloy. We got this badass hunter caveman kind of chick who basically hunts down these certain animals for different sorts of resources, and apparently this is going to be a giant open world third-person action RPG. Animals plays a little bit like Freedom Wars in the sense that you can rope these creatures down for different sorts of resources.
I would not say it plays like Freedom Wars.
I'm just saying it like there's some things that
the rope mechanic,
the rope mechanic, and being able to use weapons that you get off of different parts of the creature.
Yeah, it's definitely not like a like Monster Hunter game, but there are Monster Hunter aspects in terms of actually. Ooh, this is a good one. I think you'll like this. Monster Hunter, which if you guys don't know what Monster Hunter is, it's like you're
monsters.
Yeah, you literally, it's like one of the biggest franchises of all time. And there are so many copies of it. There's on PlayStation there is Tokuden. Tokuden is Freedom Wars, first God Eater. Those are all very similar games to Monster Hunter, where you don giant swords and giant guns and take down giant creatures, and that's basically all you do. You fight these small monsters to then go fight these giant
really
monsters.
Heavy co-op focus.
Yeah, huge co-op focus, very big in Asia. But
and with Nintendo fans on the old 3DS.
Well, the only reason it's for Nintendo fans is because they haven't made a Monster Hunter for other consoles, which is really annoying, which is why they now have games like, again, God Eater and Freedom Wars and stuff like that. But a game that was similar was a game called Lost Planet. Lost Planet 1 and Lost Planet 2.
Wow, I completely
which did a really Lost Planet 1 was phenomenal. It was this game that took these Monster Hunter elements but you were it was a third person shooter, a good first person shooter at that. You went around and there were all these enemies that had these weak points, and then there were these big enemies that were just and it was co-op, like you had to really work with your teammates to try and take down these big enemies and like shoot their weak points. And Lost Planet 2 had a good co-op, kinda. They did some really weird things and kind of messed with the game, and then they made Lost Planet 3, and that was just not Lost Planet, and it was really weird. It was a really unfortunate end, but I definitely see some similarities between Lost Planet and Horizon Zero Dawn. So if you're interested, definitely take a look at Lost Planet. That's definitely a game I would love to see make a revival. Like Lost Planet revival. Like, do not do a Lost Planet 4. Lost Planet 3 was so weird and was not a Lost Planet game. Really bothered me actually. They really need to like make a new Lost Planet, just restart the whole thing and make the games that people really loved. But anyway, Horizon Zero Dawn, definitely, like you said, prehistoric, futuristic, post-apocalyptic, third-person RPG, looks awesome. If you guys, we've talked about this in another GearCast, so I don't want to sit here and ramble on too much about it. But it's definitely an awesome game. So we know what Guerrilla Games is working on, but there's another Guerrilla studio again. As I had mentioned, Guerrilla Cambridge, formerly known as Sony Computer Entertainment Cambridge Studio.
SCECT.
There's no T. SCECS. SCECS. Oh, it's backwards. SCECS. Anyway,
GearCast, all the stuff that you don't care about, and us rambling about nonsense.
Guerrilla Cambridge. They made games like Beast Wars, Transformers. You have no idea what that is. Frogger. You don't know what that is. Medieval. Medieval 2. You guys don't know what that is. Medieval, by the way, is a big deal. Frogger is a big deal, but I'm assuming that that's a port or something. That is definitely not. Oh my God! It was.
What?
Cambridge developed Frogger.
Like OG Frogger.
Cambridge developed the original Frogger. Oh my gosh.
We're kind of a big deal.
Frogger, though branded and commonly referred to Frogger He's Back, is a video game remake of the classic 1981 arcade game. Granted, that was, it was developed by SCE. So when it came to consoles, sorry. So I'm actually, not the original arcade classic. Was made by SCE Cambridge and was published by Hasbro. Wow, that's a big deal. Anyway,
it is a big deal.
I didn't know that. It's things you learn on GearCast.
Welcome to Frogger Cast.
Right, Frogger. So Beast Wars, Transformers, whatever that is. Frogger Medieval, which is a huge PlayStation franchise, but it was a PlayStation original game, so PlayStation 1. They made a game called C12 Final Resistance for PlayStation. That was in 2001. I don't know what that is. Looks like a shooter of some sort, a third-person shooter. Then they made Primal, which I did not know either. Man, I did not realize that Cambridge made these games. Primal was I don't even know how to explain it. Not for this podcast. Another podcast to talk about Primal. It's a game that it's definitely a cult classic PS2 game. Another time. It's Ghost Hunter. These are, man, I did not know that they made these games. These are like games that you saw on PS2 that had random cult followings, would be really cheap in the cheap bin. Like the $5 bin.
Really cheap in the cheap bin.
Yeah. The cheap bin was like $10 and under, but this was like $5 and under. 24 the game, like 24 the show, had the game they made it. Medieval Resurrection, which was the only other medieval game to getting to come out after the original PlayStation, which was on PSP, Play TV, which was on PS3. And then Little Big Planet for PlayStation Portable, and then TV Superstar. So these were all pretty obscure games that I know none of you have heard of, and apparently Play TV is a DVR component for the PlayStation 3. I couldn't even.
We're uncovering the flooring and all the embarrassing shag carpeting of Sony.
We are going to go over at some point. We are going to have a episode where we talk about the random things that PlayStation has done. We will do that. So you've probably heard of none of these games. Medieval is a big deal. Obviously, Frogger is. When they turned to Guerrilla Cambridge, they made Killzone Mercenary, which is probably one of the best Vita games. It's an actual first-person shooter that plays very well on the Vita. And now they're getting a real kind of game. I should not have said real. I was rude. They are making a big title. PlayStation is tasking them with a very important title, Riggs.
Oh my god,
which
it looks
is
amazing, doesn't
yeah, like kind of the premier PlayStation 4 or PlayStation VR game. Where it's what is it? I think it's rigs, mechanized combat. I think that's what they call it or something. But it's mechs. It's mechs running around on this crazy track, just blowing each other up. And I cannot wait for it. I have no idea how it's gonna play. I'm really excited if it looks anything like the demos or like the not demos, but like the cinematic trailers. Which it could, who knows?
Yeah, I've been reading some reactions, and people are like, "This game is cray."
Yeah, I haven't actually looked at any reactions. That'd be interesting. Did want to mention that Studio Cambridge did help with Heavenly Sword, which is a phenomenal game.
Launch title.
Yeah, that they should definitely come back with.
Well, I don't know how they do that.
What do you mean?
Because with the ending. Well, I guess it wouldn't be her, but.
I mean, Heavenly Sword could easily be. I mean, it's a good franchise title. I mean, you don't have to. You can do tons of stuff with it. And I think it's one of those games that like was good, but should have had a second to make it better, kind of thing.
Right.
It had a lot of voice actors in it, like important voice actors, like that you don't know of, like or sorry, some that you know of because they're not normal voice actors, and like famous people, and then other that none of our audience would know probably. And then like other voice actors that you haven't heard of in a while. But anyway, they also helped with the Wipeout franchise.
Wipeout.
They helped with PlayStation Home, Killzone 2, the iToy franchise, and then again the PlayStation Digital TV viewer and Play TV. That thing I just told you about, the DVR.
I don't recollect.
That I just talked about Play TV. That was the thing I just talked about. I was like, Play TV.
This is literally a complete joke.
Okay, good. Just double check. I can't tell. So anyway,
like Wonderbook, whatever that is.
I don't know what you're talking about. So Gorilla Cambridge, they're making rigs. So now you guys know they're making rigs. Big deal.
Right.
Watch this, enjoy this, understand that they're making rigs. Go watch trailers for it. It's awesome. VR. Gorilla Cambridge, everyone. So there's only one more. There's only one more. Actually, that's not true. That's not true. There is. No. There's only one more. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there's one more. And it's kind of a random one, and it gets kind of confusing. It's called XDev.
XDev.
XDev. I'm just gonna kind of read this. Sony XDev Europe collaborates with independent development studios across Europe and other PAL territories to publish content to PlayStation platforms all over the world. So, they don't. They're not. XDev is not necessarily the first party development studio. I mean, it is, but they work with other. They work with other franchises and other companies. So they helped create and publish titles such as Little Big Planet, Buzz. If you guys know what Buzz is.
Damn, when's Buzz gonna come to PS4?
I have no idea.
Back?
And I don't care. A lot of people actually really like Buzz. It's a what is that? What do you call
trivia
it?
Game?
Trivia. Yeah, it's a trivia game. A lot of people like it. Not a huge
Great
fan of it,
game.
but yeah, for parties, whatever, that kind of stuff. Motorstorm, Invisimals, Super Stardust HD, yes. Heavenly Sword, yes. Heavy Rain, yes.
Whoa.
Beyond Two Souls, Tearaway, Resogun, yes. They've partnered with Quantic Dream, Clever Beans, Climax Studios, Supermassive Games, Sumo Digital. They've also helped with Media Molecule, Evolution Games, and Guerrilla Games. So they do a lot of different things. They have a huge list of games that they've worked on. But I'm not really gonna. They worked on Wonderbook, Walking with Dinosaurs. God, I can't stop.
We can't escape it.
anyway. So yeah, so that was the kind of the last one. Is Sony XDev.
Right.
So this we're starting to get to the end here. I think we've what is this? We're starting to get to that hour and a half mark. So let's quickly go to Asia. Follow me as we go to Asia, literally. Just kidding.
I'm so tired of you.
So these are the Asia studios, or the Asian studios.
These are the Asia studios. And
there's really only two. And then there's a whole bunch that go under one of them.
And a special one that we're going to talk about later. Not exclusive to us, but it's still a big deal.
Kind of. Right. We'll talk about some news, and we'll get into it. But there is one of the studios is Polyphony Digital. And Polyphony makes what you guys probably want. Well, actually, okay. So this is probably a lot bigger than some of the other ones that I had mentioned, but this is huge. They make Gran Turismo. They are the Gran Turismo guys.
Freaking kept dodging it, dude.
Yeah, Gran Turismo. For those that don't know, and a lot of you guys probably don't know because I know a lot of you are first-person shooter fans, but Gran Turismo is massive. It is a system seller, console seller. It is the premier racer on PlayStation, where Xbox has.
Forza.
Just lost it. Forza, right. They have Forza. We have Gran Turismo. Ooh, just claimed allegiance. But PlayStation has Gran Turismo, and they've been making Gran Turismo since 1999, I believe. No, 1997. Woo.
I was like way earlier than that. Like I remember like
only 2 years earlier.
PS1.
Well, 1999 is PS1.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awkward. By the way, you were only like 3 or something. Or
no,
4.
I remember. One thing is, I remember like having the discs.
Yeah, okay. You right. So, but you were definitely 3 or 4, and a lot of you weren't born. So, just in case you weren't aware that you weren't born in the 90s. Not you, but our viewers. So quick, just kind of rundown. Polyphony Digital started in 1994 making Motor Tune Grand Prix, then Motor Tune Grand Prix 2. This was for the original PlayStation. And then Gran Turismo came out in 1997, and this was as Poly's Entertainment. And then they became Polyphony, and then they created Omega Boost, which was for PlayStation, that kind of faded into obscurity. And then they made Gran Turismo 2, Gran Turismo 3, Gran Turismo Concept 2001, 2, and 3, or Gran Turismo Concept 2001 Tokyo, 2002 Tokyo Seoul, 2000.
Oh my god!
So they made a lot of Gran Turismos. Gran Turismo 4 Prologue, Gran Turismo 4, Gran Turismo 4 Tokyo, or Toyota. Sorry, not Tokyo. Toyota. Gran Turismo 4 Toyota Prius Edition. Gran Turismo 4 Nissan.
Okay,
edition.
A lot of
so
Gran
many.
Yeah.
Then they hit PlayStation 3, which was with Gran Turismo HD, Gran Turismo 5 Prologue. Then they made a Gran Turismo PSP game, continued to Gran Turismo 6. Gran Turismo Sport is now what you guys
Oh my
heard
god,
of.
this is going to be gigantic.
But there actually have been murmurs of a Gran Turismo 7 as well. And this is what they do. So Polyphony will probably not work on another game. It will probably make Gran Turismo Sport and Gran Turismo 7 in 2016 and 2017. So get excited if you guys love racing sims and you guys I will probably get Gran Turismo when it gets really cheap, or just watch videos online about it, because I'm not a racing sim fan, but the graphics look phenomenal. And
yeah, they do.
Yeah, and I have a friend that's probably going to buy Parko, that will probably buy a PS4 just to play Gran Turismo Sport.
I believe that.
So that's Gran Turismo. That's Polyphony Digital. We know what they're working on. Gran Turismo Sport and Gran Turismo 7. But let's move on to not a bigger studio, but one that makes a bit more diverse content, and that would be, of course, Japan Studios.
Oh man!
And before I talk about Japan Studios, there are 4 other studios that are under Japan Studios that we will talk about. So if it seems like I'm missing games, it's because they're under other studios. But Japan Studios makes games like Ape Escape, Loco Roco, which I love. Loco Roco, by the way, PSP title that needs to come to PS Vita, and I don't care if it comes to PS4, but it needs to come to PS Vita. I did not know that. Sorry, they made a couple other games that I wasn't aware of that you guys probably wouldn't even know of, but like The Legend of Dragoon, which is a huge
Oh
game.
my god.
White Knight Chronicles, I didn't realize that they made.
Right.
They made the Patapon series, another game that needs to come to Vita.
With trophies.
Loco Roca, they need a new game, a new Patapon, a new Loco Roco, or a collection, HD collection or something for Loco Roco and Patapon. Phenomenal PSP games that need to come to Vita and can come to PS4. So many games that they made that a lot of you probably don't know about, but the ones you do know, they made Bleach Soul Resurrection, which is actually one of my favorite Bleach games ever for those that are anime nerds.
Slow clap.
I mean, I seriously love that game. They made Puppeteer, but the ones that you guys, they made Knack. They made Knack. That's an important one.
Yeah.
It's a good game. It's a good game. But the ones the ones you guys know about is, of course, the Souls series.
Oh, the
Which-
demons and the darks and the born of bloods.
Right. So Demon Souls is how that started. Then Dark Souls, and then Dark Souls 1.
Never forget when Demon's
Dark-
Souls was a PlayStation exclusive franchise.
Demon's Souls was so, and that's why things get kind of confusing with Studio Japan or Japan Studio. But anyway, there's it gets complicated. But the games that we know that they're working on now. They recently made the games that you guys know that they recently made Freedom Wars, which is currently free on PlayStation.
Love
Vita.
that game.
Soul Sacrifice Delta, another great game that is very similar to Freedom Wars. Bloodborne, Gravity Rush Remastered,
What? Right.
Gravity Rush 2, games that are coming out,
Or as
Last-
it's known in Japan, Gravity Days.
right? The Last Guardian, The Tomorrow Children, and the one that has faded into obscurity that I would love to know what's going on, Deep Down.
Oh my god, I completely forgot about that.
Deep
That's the
Down,
Capcom game, right?
a free-to-play, yes, a free-to-play title for PlayStation 4 from Software. That's why I got confused.
There you go.
So yeah, I got confused. From Software and Japan Studios works very closely together, which is why Demon Souls was made and why Bloodborne was made. So anyway, but yeah, so The Tomorrow Children, The Last Guardian, Gravity Rush 2, and Deep Down are the games that they're currently working on. I would love to hear more about Deep Down. Take a look at that. It's kind of like a Dark Souls kind of game, but it's free to play and it's more dungeon crawly than it is like.
It's like, I remember the one trailer that we had of like this guy in beautiful armor, just like hiding from like a fire-breathing dragon. The graphics were absolutely freaking insane.
Yeah. And it takes place in New York City, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah, some really interesting things that they could do with this game, and I would love to hear where it's going and where it is. I hope they didn't drop it because it looked really cool and would be an awesome free-to-play game for a lot of people to get into.
Let's keep our fingers crossed that I don't know, maybe it's part of that holster that you and I keep talking about, where it's
Maybe.
gonna be like, hey, by the way, Deep Down's still a thing, and
Maybe.
it's coming out soon.
It's developed by Capcom, so who knows what they're gonna do?
Except make it expensive. Hey,
Make another conversation for another time. Capcom. The Tomorrow Children currently coming to beta pretty soon, or second round alpha. I can't remember to PS4, which I'm not even gonna try to explain. It's like we've talked about it a little bit before, but Minecraft meets I don't even know, Dreams or something. I don't even know. Look it up. The Tomorrow Children is very, very interesting. I will be getting that game.
Same. You know me, of course I'm
interesting.
gonna get that game.
And then The Last Guardian, which I know a lot of you youngsters don't know about, but look it up. Also a huge deal. Third-person adventure game where you're a young boy in a giant a lion bird. I don't even know what you call that thing.
That is a lion, dog, puppy, bird, chihuahua.
It's
thing.
basically like a sphinx-looking thing.
A chimera.
Or a chimera, right, a chimera, yeah. The giant one. Anyway, those are big games. And then Gravity Rush 2. Again, Gravity Rush, a phenomenal game for the Vita. And now it's getting a remaster by Japan Studio for PlayStation 4, along with Blue Point Games, of course. But more importantly, Gravity Rush 2, which I'm super excited for. I love Gravity Rush. Love the character Kat. It's a fun game that makes you kind of think a little bit, but it's just kind of fun and soft. It's not super heavy. It's just kind of like
You
a soft
play, of course, you're not heavy because you're a chick that can control gravity. Here's the segue. You're a chick who can control gravity, and you travel through an open world city on the Vita, and it is gorgeous. It is so gorgeous on that little screen. But then you go through little adventures. You go collect little gems to repair the city, fight enemies. It's really freaking cool.
Yeah, I love that game. I remember when I beat that game. Great game. I love Kat. Kat is a really great, really great.
I like her design.
I love Kat. I mean, there's so much ambiguity to her that you can kind of just like put yourself like in her shoes.
Project yourself on her, so she's kind of like a Solid Snake kind of character, where there's enough vagueness
solid
in her archtype that you can project yourself onto her.
Right, and I really enjoyed that, and I thought I played as her a lot in PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale for the PlayStation 3.
Oh.
Anyway, so that's
underrated game.
Yes, definitely. Japan Studios, that's what they're working on. Some pretty big deals going on there, but that is not it because Japan Studio has other studios that are part of it. For example, Team Gravity. Team Gravity is the one that actually works on Gravity Rush. So they're the ones that really head Gravity Rush. They also made a horror game called Siren.
That sounds familiar.
Siren 2, Siren Blood Curse, which was for the PlayStation 3. And then they, of course, made Gravity Rush Remastered.
Oh,
and now
I was
Gravity
thinking of
Rush.
Fear. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, very different game. Gravity Rush 2, which there has been a Fear in a long time. But anyway, Gravity Rush 2 is what Team Gravity will be working on now, which I'm extremely excited for, once again. And so, Team Gravity, there's also Team Ico, Team Eco, which is working on, of course, The Last Guardian. But you guys may know them from Eco and Shadow of the Colossus, which
that's
is
a PlayStation 2 game I would like to have emulated to the PS4. Shadow of the Colossus.
They already have it.
On PS4, PS2?
Oh, no.
I know.
They have
we
it.
were talking about the HD collection with Team Ico on PS3.
Right. I would see them. I don't know if they'll do that. That'll be interesting because their HD remaster is actually really good comparatively to like their Grand Theft Auto was emulated because the emulation is better than the remaster.
Okay.
But we'll see. I would love to. That is true. I'd like to see both of those games on there. It would be smart to re-release those on PS4, and then release the game that I just talked about. Whatever it is that I literally just talked about. What is it?
Gravity Rush?
No. My God, I just said it.
Ico.
No, the game that they're working on, the one that the
Last Guardian.
Oh yes, thank you. The Last Guardian, yeah. So it would be cool to see them re-release that collection for PS4 and then put out The Last Guardian. I think they'll make a little bit more money that way, and it shouldn't take too much time. But who knows? So then the last two are PlayStation Camp, which is they make
Camp. I want to go to PlayStation Camp.
Well, it's CAMP, which stands for Creator Audition Mashup Project, which is very, very, very interesting because they make games that are like with independent studios, kind of, and they make games like Tokyo Jungle. Tokyo Jungle, and Rain, which was a PS3 title. Don't think a lot of people played that, unfortunately, because it was at the end of the PS3 life cycle. But they made Tokyo Jungle, which is a great game on PlayStation 3. Love to see a Tokyo Jungle 2 on PS4. That would be awesome. And then the last one is JSEDD, Japan Studio External Development Department, otherwise known as JSEDA. That was racist. I'm sorry. JSEDA. And JSED, if you will. Part of Japan Studios, and they make games like Soul Sacrifice Delta, and Freedom Wars. So basically, they make they make the Monster Hunter clones.
Lol.
Yeah, so that's it. That is all of the first-party studios. There are second-party studios, which second-party studios are a bit complicated to explain. They make games that are exclusive to PlayStation, but they're not owned by PlayStation.
That was great. No, that was perfect.
Yeah, they're even funded by PlayStation, but things can get complicated.
Would you say? Oh well, that's not actually true. I'm not sure where you would put the new Kojima Productions.
Right. Segue. There are first party studios owned by PlayStation and Sony. They're owned by them. They can, if they want to leave, they have to basically ask. For example, Insomniac. Insomniac was a first party developer, and they asked to leave, and Sony said yes, go make games. And then for some reason, they made a game exclusive to Xbox, whatever. But they also are coming back and making Ratchet and Clank, the new Ratchet and Clank game. So now they kind of have
Ratchet and Clanking.
Sure. So now they kind of can make more games, bigger budgets because they can have bigger audiences. So that's kind of cool, right? But then there are also second party studios. Like I said, a studio that is pretty much third party but making a game that is exclusive for PlayStation. Then there are third party studios that are completely separate, right? They make games that are for everyone. They make games that are for EA, Ubisoft, all those big players, Capcom, all those players out there.
Right.
And then there are just independent studios, which are third-party studios. And these independent studios can become second party, they become third party, they can be bought and become first party. And so in news, which usually we talk about in the beginning, but we're going to talk about the end here because we could talk about it for quite a while, something big has happened. And before we talk about this big thing, you know what time it is. It's time for me to go to the bathroom.
Is it?
So we're going to take a quick break. And if you remember last time, there's going to be an awesome musical interlude that sounds something like this.
How you guys doing?
And we're back.
Duh.
What are you doing? It sounds like you're playing video games.
Oh yeah, like don't worry.
What are you playing?
I'm playing Star Wars, EA Star Wars Battlefront.
Nice. Okay. All right. I know a lot of you guys probably play EA's Battlefront. Not a huge fan of EA and how they currently are working with the whole Battlefront system. I'm sure the game is good, but
It's fun.
the way that they worked the pricing was
It's
not
crappy.
Not happy about that. So I'm
Completely
boycotting
crappy.
them. I'm boycotting them until the game becomes $20. Anyway, we're back. We're back, guys. I apologize. We work really hard here.
Oh, an apology at the end.
Oh,
This
just
is
kidding.
new.
Just kidding. I'll wait till next time to apologize.
Sorry for going to the bathroom the previous episode.
Thank you for your understanding. That's really what I'm trying to say.
Sometimes you just gotta poop.
We work really, really hard here at GearCast, Chain Gear Gaming.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes when you gotta go, you gotta go. So let's finish this up with a little bit of news. I recently released a video that I hope a lot of you guys watched, and if not, please go check it out. Go to youtube.com/Chain Gear Gaming. What is it? I just got a new URL. It's a big deal for me. Listen, it is hard to get a URL for YouTube. Seriously, it is not easy. But it's like the real Chain Gear Gaming or something. I can't remember what it is. I'll let you guys know when I figure it out. But
That would
go
be
ahead,
important.
Go over
know.
to Chain. I mean, nobody actually types in youtube.com/ Nobody does that. Everybody just goes to YouTube and they're like Chain Gear Gaming, and then it doesn't come up because it separates Chain and Gear, and it's really annoying. Anyway, so Chain Gear Gaming, there is a video that is all about Kojima, Hideo Kojima. And I'm actually not gonna really talk about this because if you've seen the video, then you already know. If you haven't seen the video, please watch it. I'm gonna let Vampire Peaches talk about this section. See, if I had to go to the bathroom and you had a camera, I could have just went, and then you could have kept talking. But you don't.
So Hideo Kojima is the creator of Metal Gear Solid. There had been some weird stuff going on between him and Konami, in the sense that they keep treating him like crap and closing down his. I don't know. They removed his name from the box of Metal Gear. They
let me. Before we get into like all of or instead of going through all of the past information, basically, like Pete just said, they made Hideo Kojima, which is the creator of Metal Gear, touched the lives of millions, really made a difference in the video game industry for many different reasons. The way he's developed, the way he's been creative, all of these things, people fell in love with his characters. Really big deal.
You wouldn't really have cutscenes in games if it weren't for the original Metal Gear Solid.
Right. Which you did mention last video as well. I don't think that people necessarily understood what was going on, but I think this is definitely a good time to kind of explain that. Is that he's kind of the king of cutscenes, so much so that people said that Metal Gear Solid 4 was basically just a movie, which I could kind of agree with, but I liked it. But yeah, so Hideo Kojima, the developer or the main, or I should just say creative director, really, the creator of Metal Gear. And Kojima Studios, or Kojima Productions. Big, these are two entities. Hideo Kojima, part of Kojima Productions, have made beautiful artwork, beautiful games.
Yes.
But they were working under Konami. And Konami basically did some shady stuff. We still don't know all
extremely
the details.
shady stuff. Yeah, we don't know all the details, but they were saying weird stuff like Kojima hasn't actually left the company. He's just on vacation. I don't know, that apparently his contract doesn't go up until December, but clearly he's been doing okay for himself because he's created his own independent studio. I made a mistake. I predicted that he would have a first-party studio with us, but he made his own independent studio, which I think is a smarter move, so that way he can really do what he wants to do. But we get first dibs, basically, at the new franchise that he's making exclusively for PlayStation.
Yeah. I think this is a phenomenal thing. Again, if you guys have seen the video, please check out the video if you haven't. I get a little emotional.
I teared up reading that thing like 3 times, man.
Yeah, it's definitely good. They have a new website, Kojima Productions .jp, and I think this is a good way to end GearCast because it really talks about PlayStation and its studios. PlayStation and their studios, they really work together, and it's never forceful. It's always like, hey, make what you want to make, do what you want to do. And this is coming from other media sources. I obviously don't have, first party contact with any of these studios. But just watching videos and reading Reddit posts or reading, just things on the internet.
Or people like independent developers after spending time with other studios, like saying how much they love working with PlayStation, how much room they have, and like how much feedback they get. We do celebrate the creative process. Like, we respect the indie industry. We respect our creators.
Yeah, definitely. And the fact that Hideo Kojima and Kojima Productions, the new Kojima Productions, now is going to work with PlayStation on their first title, I think really, and we know that PlayStation will give them what they need. Granted, they will also probably make sure that they don't go over budget and stuff because
we don't know what happened with the other thing.
Yeah, we'll see. Kojima really is phenomenal, and Kojima Productions is even more phenomenal than just Hideo himself. And so it'll be great to see PlayStation really nurture that new company, see it rise through.
It really shows how important their relationship is and how much Kojima-san really meant to PlayStation. Like, he put us on the map, man. Like with the original Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, actually, and another good point to make is they're not the only studio that PlayStation does this with. They recently did it with Team Ninja. Team Ninja, is that right?
Team Ninja?
No, that's not right. What's their name? Ninja. Team Ninja.
Think about the project that they made, and then we can think about it.
No, it's definitely Team Ninja. Yeah, Team Ninja, the guys that made Ninja Gaiden.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not Team Ninja, actually. It's okay. The game was released. It was not released, but it was announced a couple E3s ago. Oh, I know what it is. Hold on. Actually, this is a good one. Ninja Theory. Team Ninja.
Ninja Theory.
Team Ninja is the guys that make they're the guys that make Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah.
Ninja Theory. They're the guys that make they're the ones that made DMC.
Devil May Cry.
I'm fairly certain now. I'm double checking now, but I'm fairly certain. Yes, they made DMC. They made Enslaved, and they made Heavenly Sword.
Right.
Yeah, and they're currently working on Hellblade, but as an independent studio. So Ninja Theory, completely independent, is now working on an independent game that is for PlayStation, but at least as far as I know, it might be for PC as well. But they're making Hellblade, and this is again PlayStation saying, "We want you to do what you want to do. Let us help you." And that's why that's one of the reasons I really love PlayStation. And Xbox is getting there. Microsoft is doing some really great things. The new leadership at Microsoft is great. Again, another conversation for another time. We'll do a podcast all about Nintendo and Microsoft.
Or about the executives, really. Let's talk about Andrew House and Sean Layden and Jack Tretton. I'm kidding.
We can do that. That seems like maybe like a 15, 16, 17 episode. That's pretty hardcore for
really hardcore
for our audience. But if you guys are interested, definitely let us know in the comment section below. But that's it, really, guys, for this episode. We just kind of wanted to mention, kind of end the episode with talking about a new studio coming and making a game that's just for PlayStation, a new franchise. Actually, they didn't mention the word franchise. It was not a new game. The whole new series of games that could come out of this. So that's really
seen
exciting.
Kojima smiling like that in a video in a very, very long time.
Yeah, definitely. He also looks a little scruffy, which I thought was kind of funny.
I like his beard.
I think it's funny.
The new game plays as you get to play as Hideo Kojima's beard, and you have to use a 6-axis controller.
You're gonna be mad if that's what they actually do. You're gonna be mad if they make some weird VR game where you're flying around as Kojima's beard.
Well, when you say like that sounds amazing.
Sure. It's from Metal Gear.
The sequel to Iron Bread is I am Kojima's beard.
Sure. All right, guys. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode of GearCast. Of course, going through all the studios. If you're new to GearCast again, or if you're new to Chain Gear Gaming, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember that there is a giveaway happening on the next episode, episode 9, the holiday special for GearCast. We really hope that you guys enjoyed this episode. So give this a like if you liked it. Give us a dislike if you didn't like it, but please let us know why in the comment section below. Let us know anything else that you're feeling in the comment section below. If you're interested in a specific studio, or you have questions, or if there's a game that you're interested in from one of these studios, let us know. Of course, check the description just in case if there's anything that I missed or I wanted to throw in there. Probably not, because I don't usually. But subscribe for more episodes of GearCast and, of course, more awesome videos from Chain Gear Gaming. Otherwise, share this all over the internet. That way everybody knows. You guys have no idea how important that is to us. But
yes.
That is it from me. That is it from my co-host, Vampire Peaches. So we'll see you guys online. And of course, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye!
Normally this is where Peaches waves, but you don't see him this time.
Oh no.
Okay, see you guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Look up Wonderbook!
Don't look up Wonderbook. Ow.